yourself and Bonagakuye.
Unfortunately, myself, I'm still in Jubilee. I've not left Jubilee.
But you failed to attend the NDC.
I was not invited, and as I told you, things now politically are very tricky.
Wakili,
yeah,
the issue here, there are two things. Jubilee is indeed the third biggest party, parliamentary party with 28 members. Yes, so we cannot ignore that party. Curiously, most of those members do not come from the Mount Kenya region. So probably it's the Uhuru factor. And he appears to have rattled both sides of the political divide. The number of reactions from those in government criticizing some of his pronouncements was not without notice. We saw quite a number of that on social media. On this other side, there's a lot of dissatisfaction. They've been branded a government project, red wheelbarrows. So are we saying that Uhuru Kenyatta is definitely going to be a factor come 2027? Thank you very much.
Before I answer your question, I think with respect, Honorable Sabina veered off totally from addressing the issue you asked her about Jubilee, probably because of the conflicts that they had at that personal level. I don't know. But I was looking to hear from her what happened to the policies of Jubilee that she was nominated upon and intended to be articulated. I don't know. What happened to Jubilee, providing her with the guardrails, and then she goes and articulates all the policies of UDA. I don't know, I was expecting to hear. But coming to your question, now, I have to ask the Kenyan people, we have to ask ourselves, I mean, who is Uhuru Kenyatta? Uhuru Kenyatta is a former president of this country. Now, under the Presidential Retirement Benefit Act, Section 6 forbids him from holding such a position as he's holding. He has no business. We have no political hygiene as we speak at the moment. Look at the retired, late Mwai Kibaki. He kept off politics. Immediately he was...
Question, Wakili, because yes, there are provisions in our constitution that provide for the fundamental rights for civil and political rights included in that.
Absolutely.
Do other acts precede this one? Can we come up with an act to deny anyone their political rights, which are already provided for in the Constitution? And that's the argument that many people have, that the Retirement Benefits Act cannot supersede the Constitution.
Perfect. But let's look at the context. He's a former president. What's the mischief that the Kenyan people, through the legislature, through the passage of this law, intended to cure, intended to prohibit? That a former president, by means of the network that he or she has, by means of the popularity, by means of the prominence that they have, then they are going to shift political arguments, the political, discourse in a manner which is not, quote unquote, fair to the other people. Let me read to the Kenyan people, Section 6, subsection 1 of this Presidential Retirement Benefits Act. And what he says, a retired president shall not hold office in any political party for more than 6 months after ceasing to hold office as president. That is what he signed to. That is the oath that he took to uphold the rule of law, which is a principle espoused in Article 10, sub-Article 2A of the Constitution, 2C of the Constitution. The problem that we have at the moment is that people are so vested in their own interest, self-interest, I should add, to the point that all those rules, all those laws, all those principles, they are of no use to them. Let's remember, it is during his tenure, with tremendous respect to him, that he said, court orders are nothing that, than pieces of paper. It's like the newspaper that you used to wrap me. That is how he held court decisions. And we see now what we are reaping in terms of this regime that is also being, served with court orders on Haiti, on Shah, on everything else. And they say, we will still go ahead. Whether you like it or you don't, we will still go ahead. And that is some very negative aspect that was birthed during his period. So the question that I ask is he not breaking the law, therefore, by then heading Jubilee, using his capacity as former president, and therefore he is tilting, and I'm answering your question, that, the rattling that across the political divide, either way, I mean, look, you're the former president, you're bound by this law. When you retired, this is what you are bound to. And I should say, allow me to say this.
if he is ready to forego the benefits that this law was set to provide for?
That's okay. Benefits are different from participation here. Benefits. Section 4 of that particular act is the one that governs the issue of benefits. And if he sees that, well, these are peanuts to him, that's very well. That's okay. He shouldn't have these guards guarding him. He shouldn't have the office. He shouldn't have the secretaries. He shouldn't have his own spouses having all these medical. That's okay. If he wants to forfeit that, and if his pockets can, take care of that, well and good. But Section 6, subsection 1 of that act forbids him from using his presidential credentials. As a former retired president, he should just take a back seat and not be in the political scene. That is a political hygiene that is mandated by that law, and the Kenyan people have accepted. And any president, including the president, the current president, when they took oath of office, they knew, or they ought to have known, that that is the law that will bind them upon cessation of the office, they are holding the office of the president. So here we have a former president who is not respecting that statutory position, and he wants to revamp his political party. I have to ask, why? There is this, in my view, a nostalgic feeling that he wielded and exercised power, that he's salivating in a way to have, by proxy or otherwise, at least he will have that opportunity. That, to me, is a mischief that was meant to be cured by this provision of the law, and he ought to respect it, with tremendous respect to Jubilee. Jubilee should have the level playing field as any other political party, but it is not having with the prominence of the former president. So Jubilee ought then to be held to account. And what I would expect is Honorable Sabina, as a person a member of Jubilee, then to raise this issue. Perhaps she may be seeing that, I'm from this different faction that was ousted, and therefore, she's trying to, I don't want to say kicks, of something dying. I don't want to say that. Lest you take offense.
Never die, my friend.
No. Of a dying horse. Let me end by saying this. The Kenyan people, this is the point that I'm making, the Kenyan people ought to say that let the law be upheld. If you took oath as an office, as a president, then you should know, upon the cessation of your holding that office, you cannot then go and lead a political party.
All right. And still a debate on that with regard to the rights to civil and political rights. But Bwanagakuya, a few months back, especially immediately after this disagreement between President Ruto and his then deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua expressed the need to, or rather extended an olive branch to the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, meaning that he